Next on Startup, we travel to Minneapolis, Minnesota to meet with Roger, a true bicycle connoisseur and one of the owners of Alley Cats, a shop that sells, repairs, and restores bicycles. Then we swing by Iowa City, Iowa to talk to Julie, a former nursing student who grew up cooking family recipes of traditional Italian food and created ZaZa's, an Italian specialty market that makes fresh homemade pasta daily. All of this and more is next on Startup.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support Startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Harmon Place in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm going to talk to Roger, one of the owners of Alley Cat Cycles, a bicycle sales, repair, and restoration shop in the bicycle capital of the United States. Let's go hear their story. The term bicycle was not introduced until the late 1860s, when it was coined in France to describe a new kind of two-wheeler with a mechanical drive. Today, about 100 million bicycles are manufactured worldwide each year. Maintaining a bike annually costs about 20 times less than maintaining and driving a car. Roger and Kelly became passionate about bicycles from the first time their feet touched the pedals. And with Alley Cats, they found a way to do what they love and make a living. Start by telling us who you are and where we are right now.
My name is Roger Kelker, and you're in my bike shop in Minneapolis. It's called Alley Cat Cycles.
Okay.
I co-own it with Callie Jersa. I was born in the cities. I grew up just on the other end of downtown, down on Nicollet Island.
What's your education?
My education, I went to North High School. There was money for me to go to college, and at that age I assumed I knew everything, so I never went to college.
Have you always ridden bicycles your whole life?
I've been on a bicycle without training wheels since the age of 4.
Okay, so you love bikes.
I was endlessly fascinated with bikes from a very young age. I started messengering in '93, and then I just quit that. I was doing that for 21 years. And
wow, you were a bike messenger.
Yeah.
Did you do anything besides bike messaging, or was that your primary source of income?
Over the years, I've printed T-shirts, I've waited tables, I've worked on an organic farm. I was a telemarketer in my youth, but mostly a lot of the jobs that I've done have involved me working with my hands and using a bit of intellect.
Yeah.
Not a tremendous sum.
When did it go from sort of a hobby and something that you did in your spare time or messengering to this?
I've been working on bikes sort of in earnest, say the past 15 years, you know, and had a Truin stand and a bike stand and all my tools. I had a studio space over North Minneapolis that I had all my tools and all my bikes set up, and then would build bikes for messengers or work on my own bikes. We've been here now, this is our 3rd year.
Is this the original space that you guys moved into?
This is the original space. At first, we looked, there was a spot over in Bryn Mawr, Minneapolis, which is not far from my neighborhood. We went into negotiations with them, and the moment that we really sat down, they doubled the price on us.
Oh, come on.
And so this was in December. I said, well, you guys really don't want a bike shop then, because if you're doubling the price and it's December,
Yeah.
we won't be able to do
Because
it.
those are probably some leaner months, like October through May.
Yep, off-season is a hard one.
Do you own the building? Is it a lease?
We do lease here. We went into negotiations with, first we were looking for this space and the larger space behind us, and that was too much money.
Yeah.
And the owner of the building, they were not too interested in reducing the price just because it's a pretty high demand area. We had to sell them on the concept of what we were doing as well, which was difficult at first because they didn't quite understand what it was that, you know, bicycle repair, restoration, new bikes, but that it didn't quite gel when we were speaking with them. And then
Even with all the other bike shops in the city, they didn't get it still?
you would think. But anyways, now they love us.
Yeah.
And they love us. They realize that what an attribute we are to just the complex, but also the neighborhood.
Yeah. Why do you come here? Like, what's the affiliate? Is it the owners? Is it just the style of bike? Like, what defines why a person would go to one shop over another?
Well, in my case, it's all the above. They're very genuine people. It's social. You come by when you've been riding a while and you sit and you chat and you talk about the bikes they're fixing. Everybody bikes in this town. There's so many trails and parks that it's almost natural to do it.
How'd you get the financing to open up the shop?
The financing, we basically scrounged our money, and that we started basically with like $5,000.
Total.
That was it. But that said, I had about $5,000 worth of tools and about $10,000 worth of bikes and ephemera. So I had a bunch of stuff in a lot of the antiques that just sort of fleshed the place out.
When did you start making money, or was that immediate because you already had a clientele?
Just about almost right away. I mean, the thing is, I just quit messengering. And so for that first few years, I was still messengering. So a fair amount of messengers would come through and still, you know, try to support us. A lot of people within the neighborhood also wanted to see a neighborhood bike shop. I hear it at least a few times a week where people say they're glad that they have a neighborhood bike shop.
Logo, name, design, all that. Was that an extremely costly venture to get that into place?
No, this is another one where we got creative. And we had the business name when we were called by a different name that was difficult for people to remember.
What was it?
It was Kitsone Cycles.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Kitsone. Okay, all right, okay. Anyways, so we had a logo contest to come up with our logo, which I believe we have the coolest logo out of any in the city. And it was a young man who works at a local ad agency. For us to get a logo of that caliber, and it was free.
Because it was a contest. Yeah.
Well, we had a contest, and what he got was $150 in store credit. So our logo cost us $150.
In store credit, yeah.
Yes.
Facebook, you guys pretty active?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Callie gets on it again more than I do.
Yeah.
I put plenty of cool photos on there, so I got it hooked up to my phone, so when I see stuff, I'm always add stuff to the site.
Nice. How often do people change bikes? I mean, is it just maintenance, or is it always new customers? Because it seems like a big purchase that I would make and be good for a few years, you know?
Right.
What is it like?
We get, like, you're pretty right on about that. Like, a lot of dedicated cyclists will typically have more than one bike. They'll usually have a couple of different bikes. They'll have like an off-season, wet weather, snow bike. They'll have a summer bike. They'll sometimes have a fast bike.
Talk about the partnership, and what is it like having a business partner for people that are considering, you know, partnership?
You have to keep an open mind. You have to be patient.
You've been friends for a long time?
I didn't know her that well, and I think to a degree that benefited us.
I'm sure.
I had a business before with my girlfriend that worked out well, but that could cause friction at times, and there could be spillover from personal life and what have you. And so I consider myself fortunate that I got somebody who, she's great with people, she's a good mechanic, she's a genuinely nice person, and responsible.
People do the like credit card swipe things, you know, like Square, Go Payment, this, that. Has that kind of changed the playing field for you guys a little bit?
We do accept credit cards.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that we decided to set up from day one. And we do get cash. We accept checks. I've told people you could bring me food and some money, and I would accept that. I believe that approximately 70 to 80% of our sales consist of credit card.
On a bicycle, you can travel 3 times faster than you can walk, for roughly the same amount of energy. So what are we doing?
With this, this guy has had a rear derailleur issue, and so his shifting, because it's index shifting, is not correct. And so what I'm gonna go do is run through his gears here and see if I can get it to dial in. There's a barrel adjuster here.
Okay.
And what we do is we do small tweaks until I get it to climb up and down on the cassette cleanly.
Gotcha.
And staying engaged in those gears every time I move it up and down without issue.
How'd you learn how to do all this stuff, man? Trial and error, or somebody teach you?
A lot of it was trial and error. You know, and I did have some pointers that I had, and that I also have had a lot of friends that were mechanics as well. So down here, we've got a lot of bikes that we keep stored.
Is this all inventory?
A lot of this is inventory stuff that we'll actually be selling. Some of these bikes are on consignment. A lot of these bikes over here are bikes that are either going to be worked on or are finished in our customer bikes.
What's for sale over here? What do you have?
Right now, like I recently got this Schwinn Collegiate Sport 5. It's a smaller one. Didn't pay much for it. That one I'll rehab. We'll put that out the door at $250. That's an 80s Schwinn Traveler. That one I'm actually redoing for a customer.
Okay, that's a cool bike. I guess the next logical step would be to take one of these bad boys for a spin.
I've got a bike for you. Let's go upstairs.
All right. According to the NBDA, you should look closely before taking on the difficult task of starting a bicycle business. Make sure you can muster the excitement and creativity for things like merchandising, buying strategies, accounting, advertising, employees, and of course, sweeping the floor. You're 3 years into this space right now. How's it going? Like, are you making money, doing well? Are you happy? Kind of talk about just yourself.
I'm happy, and that where we're at, we're really busy. And compared to last year, I mean, every year we've been trending, you know, it's not by large sums, but we're making more money every year.
Cool. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs out there that have a dream or want to turn their hobby into a business? What is the best piece of advice that you could give to them?
Make sure that you do something you love, because it's going to be you can do everything right in a business and still sometimes not make a success of it.
Sure.
And so you have to be prepared to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort.
All right, so thank you for letting us come in and invade your space today. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for picking us.
There are a million ways to start a business, but how did Roger and Kelly do it? Let's find out. They started with under $1,000 in the bank, but turned a profit in year one, earning over $60,000. They pooled personal resources and spent around $5,000 total to open the business, and they've remained profitable for the last 3 years. The one word that Roger and Kelly use to describe what it takes to make it in business is dedication. Gearing up to start a business can be a vicious cycle. So you should always meet up to go over everything in detail, maybe at a restaurant if you can't handle bars. Either way, entrepreneurs should always be tirelessly peddling their ideas. That way, you'll always end up on the right path. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Alley Cat Cycles.
Building a brand is really important. For me, it's all the interactions that somebody has with your company, whether it's the customer service, the interactions with your product, the messaging they see on the website. All of these are different touch points that you can influence somebody's thoughts about your product. Think about every touch point that a customer works with your product and make sure it's as good as possible and consistent across all of those things.
Next time on Startup, we travel to Birmingham, Alabama to meet with Jeff, Jason, and Chris. 3 brothers born into the restaurant business who started Slice Pizza, a family pizza shop that's reshaping the local food scene. Then we head to Louisville, Kentucky to meet with Emily, who comes from a long line of Kentucky entrepreneurs and created Grace Ship, a company that produces multi-use laptop bags. Be sure to join us next time on Startup.
Another option for you. Okay. See, this might be a little bit more your color.
This one fits perfect. Oh, it feels good too.
Like it was made for you.
I feel very free. What? So I know we're on opposite sides of the fence, but why do you always gotta balk about what you do, huh?
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
the Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet. Find new roads.
The American small business was built on one thing: relationships. And every time a customer walks through the door, a new one begins. Pay Anywhere was built to help entrepreneurs do what they do best. So keep loving what you do. Just get paid for it. Pay Anywhere.
It all starts with an idea, and everyone has them. In the world of business, where you choose to take your idea determines where your idea will take you. Baker College is proud to support startup and those who dare to share their ideas with the world.